尊敬的习主席、各位来宾、
Xi Jinping,
记者朋友们，
distinguished
大家
guests,
下午好。
friends from the media, good
中华人民共和国主
afternoon.
席习近平阁下
President Xi
同中
Jinping
外
of
记者见面会
China's
现在开始。
press conference
现在
now
请习主
starts.
席讲话。
Now I invite President Xi to make the statement.
女士们、先生们，
Friends from the media, ladies and gentlemen, good
很
afternoon.
高兴啊，同大家见
It
面。
gives me great
并且
pleasure
在
to
这介
meet
绍
with you
金砖国家
and
领导人
give
会晤
you an
及
overview
新兴市场
of the
国家
BRICS
与
Summit
发展
and
国
the
家
dialogue of
对话会
emerging
的
market
情况。
and developing countries.
昨天金砖国
The
家领导人
BRICS
厦
Xiamen
门
Summit was
圆满的
concluded successfully
我
yesterday
们5国领导人围绕着
under the theme BRICS
金砖
Stronger
伙伴关
Partnership
系
for a
开辟更加
brighter
光明未来
future
的主题。就当前国际
leaders of our
形势
5 countries
全球治
on
理
the current
金砖合
international
作等
situation, global
深入
governance,
的
and BRICS
交换
cooperation
看
had in-depth exchanges of views
达成了广
and
泛的共识。
reached broad consensus.
厦门会晤通过了
The
金砖国
summit
家领导人
adopted
厦
the
门宣言
BRICS leaders' Xiamen
重申开放
Declaration,
包容
which reaffirmed
合作
the
共赢
BRICS
的
spirit
金砖
of
精神
openness, inclusiveness, and
全面
win-win
总结了
cooperation,
金砖合作10年来
reviewed
的
the
成功的经验
successful experience of BRICS cooperation
为
over
加
the
强
past
金砖
decade
伙伴关系
and
深化各领域的务实合作
mapped out a
规划
new
了新的
blueprint
蓝
for strengthening BRICS partnership and deepening practical cooperation
期间
across the board.
中方
During
举
the
行了新兴市
summit,
场国家与发展
the
中国家
Chinese side
对话会
hosted the dialogue of emerging
金砖
market
国家
and
和
developing
埃及、墨
countries.
西哥
The leaders of BRICS countries,
泰国、塔吉克斯
Egypt,
坦、
Mexico,
几内亚
Thailand,
的领导人
Tajikistan, and Guinea
定要出席
attended the dialogue at
各
our
国领导人结
invitation.
合深化互利合作
Under the theme
促进共同发展
Strengthening
的
Mutually
对话主
Beneficial
题
Cooperation for Common Development, leaders discussed
发展
ways
合作大
of
局
enhancing international
建
development
立广泛
cooperation
的合作
and
关系
agreed to forge
加快
broad-based
落实
partnership and speed
2030
up
可
the
持续发展意识
implementation of the 2030
各国
Agenda for Sustainable
共同发展
Development for the common development of all countries.
10年前，金砖合作
When BRICS
兴于
cooperation
世界格局
started
深刻
a decade
挑战变
ago
革之际
amid profound changes
引起了
in the international
国际社
landscape,
会
it received a lot of attention from the
历
international
经国际
community.
金融危机等重大挑
Having
战的
stood
考验
the test of major
金砖国
challenges,
家
including the
探索
global
出了一
financial
条
crisis,
新兴
BRICS
市场国
countries
家和
have
发展中国
embarked
家团结
on
合作
a new path
互利
of
共赢的
promoting solidarity and win-win cooperation among emerging
各国领导
market
人啊
and developing countries.
决心以厦门会晤
Leaders are
为新起
determined
点
to take the Xiamen Summit as a
坚定
new
信
starting
念
point,
再
renew
接
the commitment,
再
and
厉
work even harder
共同打造
for
更紧
a
密
closer,
更广泛
broader,
更全
and
面
more
的
comprehensive
战略伙伴关系
strategic partnership,
开创金砖
and
合作
for
第
another
二个
golden
金色的时
decade of BRICS cooperation.
我们5国领导人认为，
We BRICS leaders
当今世界
believe
正在
that
经历着
the
深刻
world
复杂的
today
变
is
化
undergoing profound
世
and
界经济
complex
正在向前
changes.
进调
While
整
the world
但
economic
各种
outlook is
全球性
improving,
挑战
all sorts of global
层出不穷
challenges continue to emerge.
金砖国家都是具有
As
重要影
nations
响的
with
国家，
major influence,
应该深化在
BRICS
重大问题
countries
上的沟通
must
和协
step
调
up communication and coordination
推
on
动建立
important
更加
issues
公正
and
合
work
理
for
的
a more just
国
and
际秩序
equitable international order.
应该发挥建设
We
性
must
作用
play
捍
a
卫国际关
constructive
系
role and
基本
uphold
准
the
则
basic norms
维护
governing
国际公平
international
正义
relations and international
应该
fairness and
合作应
justice.
对
We
各
must
种全球性的
work
挑战
together to address global
推动开放
challenges,
包容
promote open,
普惠
inclusive,
平
and
衡共
balanced
赢的
economic
经济全球化
globalization that is
加快
beneficial
全
to
球
all,
经济制
speed
度
up
改革
global economic governance
提高
reform,
新兴市场
increase
国家
the
和发展中国家的代表
representation
性
and
发言
voice
权
of emerging market
各
and
国
developing
发展创
countries
造良好
and
的
create
外
an
部环境
enabling external environment for the
我们
development
5
of
国领
all
导人认
countries.
为，务
We
实合
BRICS
作
leaders
是金
believe
砖
that
合作的根
practical
基，
cooperation
根
is the
深
root of
才能
BRICS
叶茂。
cooperation. A
我们要
tree
本
will
着互
only
利共赢
flourish
的
when
原
its
则，
root goes deep. We will, in line with the principle of mutual benefit, step up macro policy coordination, synergize development strategies, and deepen all-round cooperation in areas such as economy, trade, finance, industry, and sustainable development, so as to bring about interconnected development. This year, BRICS practical cooperation has made new headway and gained even greater importance. We have developed cooperation roadmaps in areas such as trade facilitation, trading services, currency swaps, local currency settlement, and public and private partnership. We have set up the African Regional Center of the New Development Bank and put together the BRICS Innovation Cooperation Action Plan. Thanks to our efforts over the past year, we have made new strides towards greater connectivity in trade, in investment, in currency and finance, and in infrastructure. We all stress the need to place more emphasis on innovation, seize the historic opportunities offered by the new round of industrial revolution, and improve economic structure at a faster pace so as to secure more resilient, sustainable, and quality growth for all. We BRICS leaders believe that it is in our common interests to deepen political and security cooperation and enhance mutual strategic trust. This is also what the international community expects us to do. Since the start of this year, we have had in-depth exchanges of views and reached important consensus on such issues as the international situation, global governance, international and regional hotspots, and national security and development. The meeting of High Representatives for Security Issues and the first Foreign Ministers meeting we held this year have injected fresh impetus to closer political and security cooperation. We have instituted regular consultations among our permanent representatives in New York, Geneva, and Vienna to coordinate positions on major issues of common interest. We are making steady progress in our cooperation on counterterrorism, cybersecurity, peacekeeping, and the Middle East. All these efforts have raised the profile of BRICS. We support efforts to continue the good momentum of political and security cooperation, and we will play our part and contribute more to world peace and stability. We BRICS leaders believe that the long history and splendid culture of our respective countries are our valued assets and must be cherished. This year has seen flourishing people-to-people exchanges and cooperation among our 5 countries. Colorful events like the BRICS Games, Film Festival, Cultural Festival, high-level meeting on traditional medicine have proved popular with our people. We are also advancing cooperation between our legislatures, political parties, think tanks, young people, and local authorities to create platforms for people with different backgrounds to participate in BRICS cooperation. We support efforts to institutionalize people-to-people exchanges, as they will contribute to greater mutual understanding and friendship and base the idea of partnership on more solid public support. At the summit, we BRICS leaders share the view that as BRICS cooperation enters its second decade, institution building has to move forward in keeping with the changing times if we are to secure strong support for deeper and more substantive cooperation across the board. We support a stronger mandate for our Sherpas and expect them to take stock of the follow-ups to every summit at regular intervals and explore new ways and paths of BRICS cooperation in order to bring our 5 countries closer together. As a matter of fact, this year we have already made new progress in BRICS institution building. I have mentioned the first formal foreign ministers meeting and the regular consultations among our UN permanent representatives. In addition to these 2 examples, we have also set up cooperation platforms such as a model e-port network, a working group on e-commerce, and alliances of museums, art museums and national galleries, and libraries. These new mechanisms will lend strong support to our efforts to deepen political, economic, and cultural cooperation. Next year, South Africa will assume the BRICS chairmanship and will host the 10th BRICS Summit in Johannesburg. We trust that next year's summit will yield fruitful outcomes. China is ready to work with others to give full support to South Africa in hosting the summit and work together to move forward BRICS cooperation. Ladies and gentlemen, it is a fine tradition for BRICS to conduct dialogue and cooperation with other emerging market and developing countries. Under the current circumstances, such dialogue and cooperation have become all the more important. The dialogue of emerging market and developing countries hosted by China has sent a strong message for closer South-South cooperation and global development cooperation. Leaders attending the dialogue agree that emerging markets and developing countries who enjoy good growth momentum are well placed to play a bigger role when it comes to implementing the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development and improving global economic governance. We need to deepen South-South cooperation, create a BRICS Plus cooperation approach, reach out extensively to other countries, and establish an open and diverse network of development partners. Together, we can blaze a sustainable path featuring innovative, coordinated, green, open, and shared development, and inject more positive energy to global growth and shared prosperity. To conclude, let me take this opportunity to thank other BRICS leaders and friends from the business, think tank, cultural, and sports communities for your strong support for China's BRICS chairmanship. My thanks also go to the friends from the media who have been working really hard. I know that about 3,000 journalists have been working here to cover the event. I believe that with the concerted efforts of our 5 countries and people from different sectors, there will be bright prospects for our cooperation and for the development of BRICS countries. Those are all I have to say. Thank you.